Greetings, friends, and welcome to another edition of DJ in Real Life. This is your boy DJ, and this is my real life on the internet, or what anyone could call a real life on the internet. Anyway, welcome to the show. Today, I want to get into something I've been posting a bit about on Facebook over the past few months. I've been talking about making a comeback, writing "The Comeback Continues," or some variation of that at the end of several of my posts there. Some folks have a few ideas regarding what I'm talking about, but I don't know if that many people actually know what that really means, especially in my case. What is this comeback about? Well, generally speaking, the comeback is me on my way back to being a regular social being, and the end goal is me having a full life on my terms. Now, understand that this is about my own personal definition and view of that, and not anybody else's. And that to me is important in itself, which I'll get into more about later. For now, let me talk about the background to what led up to this comeback, and why it's different from other times people have seen something like a comeback on my part. Throughout my life, I've gotten myself into different things, different hobbies, different situations, etc., etc., etc. Some have led to the greatest things that ever happened to me. Great friends, new ideas, awesome experiences. I think you get the gist. Some have led to, well, not so great experiences, and even traumatic ones. In a lot of cases, this was due to aborted efforts on my part and or things ending abruptly. Sometimes it happened because things were just meant to be. Sometimes I just wore out my welcome. Sometimes it was because I had no choice, or no choices depending on the circumstances. Sometimes it was because of one of the banes to my existence, depression and anxiety. That alone has really screwed with things over the course of my life. The bottom line here is that once a lot of those things ended, I would end up being pushed back to a point where I would have to start all over from square one. In some cases, I'd have to reboot my entire life with very little carryover from what I had before. That wore on me and led me to questioning my entire existence. Trust me, having done that so much, I'm surprised I could get up and be able to function as I have. Sometimes I even failed at that. Guess that's my stubbornness at work, getting up again. As a result, I felt like the life I was living would be considered less than middling. Go look that up, it's a real word. Anyway, things finally came to a head in the second half of 2018 with several events occurring which finally set the stage for this comeback that I'm currently in the middle of. I guess I should start with my breaking a tooth at a friend's wedding back in June of 2018. Note to everybody, be careful eating fried chicken made at Walmart. I broke one of my front teeth there, and being someone who has some vanity about him, felt completely humiliated, even with my friends comforting me there. I went to a dentist and got gut-wrenching news about not just that tooth, but due to my not always taking care of myself due to my aforementioned depression, my dental health was completely in jeopardy. Fortunately, I did go for a second opinion and got a better, less apocalyptic diagnosis, but I still had to get some dental work done. I know I'm not being too specific here about that, but just go with it as I really don't want to get into specifics about the dental stuff here. Anyway, I didn't have much going on in my life anyway, but I became even more of a recluse than I already was until I felt the issues with my teeth could be realistically dealt with. That was actually the start of my planning for a comeback, at least to being a social being. But given everything that had led up to that point, I knew I'd have to start going about my life differently, and that meant potentially making some scary changes I feared having to make. Then, a sequence of events happened that would change the calculus of not just what I was planning, but how my life would change forever. In the following September, my father passed away. That was a jolt to everything. Weirdly enough, not for me so much internally, but definitely externally with things and events and with people around me, especially my family. For the sake of this particular show, I'm not going to go any further talking about my dad as it's not an easy thing to speak on in the first place, but it does factor into the comeback, so I had to mention it. Anyway, the following month, I had that dental work done that took me even more out of the public arena, mostly away from fast food restaurants as I had to change my diet for a few months as a result of the surgery. The month after that, around the 10-year anniversary of one of my best friends passing, I discovered that a female friend of mine who I was into and had inspired me through rough times by her just living her life, she cut me off! I think I may have spooked her a few months before by telling her how she inspired me. I didn't actually tell her I was into her, but that particular tidbit wasn't actually important at the time I was telling her that stuff. Back to November. At a time when I needed inspiration after all that had happened already, her cutting me off just gutted me. Understand that I was in the middle of planning this comeback and beyond, and that there was very little chance of anything happening with her, given what I was planning for my own future. But it still really stung, as I definitely wanted to keep in touch with her. I learned then that sometimes, even when you value someone for whatever reason, they might not value you the same way back. Even though it would still be a few months before I could officially start the actual social comeback, This was a lesson I had to factor in not just to that, but into what I was planning for the future. Fast forward a few months to early March of this year. The dental issues were finally resolved, and I was raring to be social again. Around St. Patrick's Day, the comeback officially began with my first social appearance outside of my dad's funeral at my regular hangout for the past 2 years, the Red Fox in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Since then, I've started going out almost every weekend doing something. Mostly dancing, as I love to do that, but at least something. You're currently listening to another facet of that comeback, this show, DJ in Real Life. This has been a long time coming, but I'm happy it's here for you to hear. Hey, I rhymed. Anyway, there are some other things I've been planning to do during this comeback and beyond, and one of those things is something I'm going to need some feedback on, and that is me teaching hip-hop and R&B line dancing. In other words, I've got an ask of all of you. I want to know whether or not any of you would want to have a regular class taught by yours truly, regardless of skill levels on your end, at a spot to be determined once I find a good one. You can get back to me personally on social media if we're connected there, or you can hit me up on Twitter at DJ in Real Life, or you can email me at djinreallife, that's one word, djinreallife@yahoo.com. You can also comment on YouTube once I post this episode there. If I get enough interest, I'll start working on getting that going. Anyway, related to that, I just wanted to note that for anyone who has asked in the past about me teaching them several of the line dances that me and the crew, the group of Akron and Columbus folk I'm a part of, have done over the years, and a few that I've come up with that aren't out there yet, I've got a beginner's class and an intermediate class ready to be taught. But note that I am serious about teaching this stuff, but I don't want simple lip service where people just passively say they want to learn, but end up flaking out on me. I foresee the classes happening in the future, but I'm not just going to do it out of passive interest. There's too much work involved for this to be worth only the simple lip service given to me from some random person at the club. In other words, don't waste my time, and I won't waste yours. Beyond that, I do have a couple other things that I'm planning as part of this comeback that I'm really not at liberty to talk about, as those things are still being formulated at this point. Now, you're probably wondering when this comeback will actually be done. Well, there is one particular event I'm waiting on to happen that, with all the stuff I'm doing during the comeback, will make it complete. And at that point, I will likely announce in my own way that it's complete, and then my life goes on with everything I've been working to establish. Some people know what that actually is, but since there's still a lot of work to go before that happens, I'm not going to speak on that more than I already have. There still may be some twists and turns along the way. Like I said earlier, how I'm defining this comeback is different than what people might think or even want, but this is my life I'm talking about here. For me to make this work, I have to be able to have my life and this comeback on my terms. Too often I would leave it to others or wait for events beyond my control to happen, or determine what other people's terms were before I would do anything. The last half of 2018 changed all that. I learned some tough lessons, and I just got tired of certain people telling me how life is or is going to be according to them. Those people know who they are. They need to realize things have changed. My life has changed and will continue to evolve. This comeback is evidence of that. Even if people or other stuff from back in the day pop up again, good or bad, it's still my life and my comeback. And I can't afford to fail on that. Besides, this is a happy thing for me. And if they can't get that, it's their loss. And I'll move on from them. And with that, I bid you all adieu. You can now get the latest episodes of DJ in Real Life on Google Play, Spotify, and the TuneIn app, along with iTunes and the show's YouTube channel. Like I said earlier, the show is on Twitter at the handle at DJ in Real Life. I do have another ask of folks listening here today. Should I start up a Facebook page dedicated to the show? Let me know through Twitter or email, with that address again being DJ in Real Life, that's one word, djinreallife@yahoo.com. Or if you're already connected with me personally on other social media or elsewhere, let me know those ways. Until next time, folks, this is your boy DJ saying take care, God bless, and the comeback continues. Oh, and beware of Walmart fried chicken. Beware of Walmart fried chicken. Beware of Walmart fried chicken. Bye, everybody.